but there is a backlog now. So applying for a green card has two parts. Part number one is the I-140 petition, and that is the national interest waiver. And you can file part one at any time, and the filing of part one gets you into the waiting line. Then part number two is the green card application. If you're already in the United States with a temporary non-immigrant visa, then you're going to file what's called an I-485 application. If you're overseas, then you're going to be applying for an immigrant visa at the US Embassy, and that application goes through what's called the National Visa Center, and it's form DS-260. And there is a backlog right now, both to file the green card application in the United States and then to get the immigrant visa overseas. There's something called the Visa Bulletin that is published by the State Department each month. And there's two charts in that Visa Bulletin. There's something called the date for filing chart, which is the date you can file the green card if you're in the US. And then there's something called the final action date chart, which is the date they'll give you the green card in the US or they'll give you the green card at the US Embassy. And those dates are backlogged right now. And the date for filing chart is backlogged 11 months till January 2023. And the final action date chart is back till July 2022. But it's really longer than that because the Visa Bulletin each month is issued and the dates it's not moving. So we don't know exactly how long it's going to take to get the green card. That's beyond everybody's control. But the sooner you file, the sooner you get into the waiting line.
How can someone that is in the US, but they're going to be out of status and they want to, drive the vehicle themselves and not have to worry on getting sponsorship? How can someone get the E-2 visa, invest in a business and then, run the course for the EB-2 NIW?
Sure. So there is, again, we talked about there's the I-140 and then there's the I-485. So just filing the I-140 petition, that is not a problem with the working visas. With the E-2, filing an I-140 is not going to prevent you from getting one of those temporary non-immigrant visas. It won't prevent you from getting a visa at the US Embassy, from traveling, from being admitted.
And why is that?
It's a quasi dual intent. And the in-between ones are the TN and the E. So, generally speaking, if you have an I-140 but not a 485, you're not going to have a problem with an E or a T.
Thanks for clarifying that. And how does the O1 visa fit in all this?
The O1
that's become a popular category.
Right, that's the middle one where if you just have the I-140, there's no problem. But once you file the 485, you can't travel. You can still extend an O1 after filing a 485. You can't do that with a TN. But you can't travel with an O1. And an O1 is another one of those types of non-immigrant visas. That's the non-immigrant equivalent of EB-1A, but it's a much, much easier to be approved for an O1 than an EB-1A. The legal standard's just not as difficult, but you do need an employer sponsor. You could have your own business, have a board of directors, and have that company sponsor you for O1. There's ways to do that, to be creative, but most people, they're either being sponsored by an O1, by a company, or by an agent, like an artist, a journalist. They might have an agent who's sponsoring.